Yes, that's exactly right. You're based in New York.
Yeah.
How are you looking forward to the Mamdani era? Have you started to see any kind of signs that it's coming, or is it already there?
Oh, it's already here. I mean, we've already had, you can tell Mamdani's New York has already taken over. We've had an incident already at my university, at City College, which is one of the flagships of our university. And they had an imam, they had a DEI event, which is such garbage. And the imam said, noticed that there was a Jewish person there and said, all Muslims leave the room. And there were about 100 Muslims there, and they all left. And actually, the victims of that were not the Jews in the room. There were very few Jews. There were about 20 Christians who were just sitting there looking at each other. And they were the ones who were really victimized. And people don't realize that the Jews are really the start to these true agendas. And the agenda here is the strangest is this alliance, which is Marxists and Islamists. And you think to yourself, what on earth
do they have in common?
Right. What on earth do they have in common? Do Islamists want abortion on demand in the 9th month? Do Marxists, I mean, do Marxists want autocratic, theocratic rule? I don't understand this, but then you figure it out. There's one thing that they both have in common. That is, they want to destroy Western culture. It is so clear. And when you look in New York City in particular, over the past couple of years, you see Marxist / Islamist groups who are blocking thoroughways, blocking federal buildings, blocking Amtrak, blocking JFK International Airport. These are not accidents. These are them sending a very strong message, which is we are going to block infrastructure because we don't believe in the infrastructure in the United States, in any Western country.
It's that horseshoe theory, isn't it? Where they kind of meet at the top and go, wait a minute, I'm not particularly fond of you and you're not particularly fond of me, but we have a shared goal here.
Yeah.
And you look at, Mamdani in a transgender strip club standing there as though he is somehow part of a group that would ever accept that. Never. But it's a means to the end for all of them. And this is, this meeting of the two that we've seen that is more dangerous almost than any other that we've seen in recent times. How do you find, I know that you are so passionate about particularly anti-Semitism on college campuses, and you've been such a strong voice in this space, and I thank you so much for it. Have you seen, obviously, Donald Trump has been very strong in this area, and I had Alex Witkoff actually on the show yesterday, and he spoke about, the strength of Donald Trump in this space as well. How do you see it now, and do you see it particularly in places like New York going backwards under Mamdani? Do people get a green light to go hard again?
It's going to be, I hate to say an interesting situation, but Erin, I'm a grandson of 4 Holocaust survivors.
Wow.
And I have to tell you, this is the first time I've ever said this in any interview that I've ever done. I'm actually scared for the first time in my entire life with the horseshoe theory that you just talked about, what's going on with Mamdani and living in New York. I'm not scared for myself. Long ago, I accepted whatever happens to me happens to me. I'm sure you feel the same way many times, that you just want to say how you feel. And man, do I love you so much for that. But having kids like you and I both do, you're scared for them. You're scared for future generations. You're scared for your country. I'm a huge patriot, and I care about my family. And that's what I'm scared about, because I'm seeing things happen that I've never seen happen, that I never even imagined would happen in my lifetime. And one example is that Mamdani, this very soon-to-be mayor of New York, who is really a Marxist, he's not even a socialist, clearly an anti-Semite, he supports the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement, an anti-Semitic movement that pushes for the boycott of anybody affiliated with Israel. Now, what that means in New York is you are going to have, no doubt in my mind, this is a prediction, but I'm sure it's going to happen. You are going to have Jewish businesses boycotted in New York for the first time since 1930s Germany. That, to me, is truly scary, because that's what started the lead up to Kristallnacht in Germany. The story that my grandparents told us about when we were little children, and the stories you hear that you don't think could possibly ever happen again. You're going to have violence there has already been violence in the streets. There was a synagogue, a famous synagogue, Park East Synagogue. I'm sure you heard the story just about a week ago. Again, this is Mamdani's New York, where these Islamist Marxists again, that combination, why, blocked the synagogue, harassed people going into the synagogue, and Mamdani says nothing about it except for basically saying that the synagogue goers were to blame because they were having an event that had to do with Israel. I mean, goodness gracious. So I really am. I've never said this before. People need to speak out more than ever, because it really is a scary time, and it is existentially scary, and not just for Jews, for people all decent people who believe in democracy and freedom.
Could not agree with you more, and you're absolutely right. I had the foreign minister on last week, the Israeli foreign minister, talking about what was happening in Ireland with the erasure of street names, Jewish street names of the former president, and he made that exact point. He said this is what happened in the lead up to the Holocaust. They started to do these kinds of things, and people will often say, oh, you're exaggerating, or you're it's not that bad. If you actually look at the things that led to one of the most horrific things in history, we're starting to see them not just one-offs, but repeatedly. And that is terrifying. And I always say, I will never be someone who will ever stand by and watch it happen or let it happen on my watch. And I feel like people are not awake to how legitimate the threat is. And you said it earlier, even if you say, oh, well, that's really sad for Israel and the Jews, but I'm not Israeli and I'm not Jewish, it doesn't affect me. It does. It affects all of us in Western countries and nations who care deeply about what you just said, democracy and freedom. It doesn't end with the Jews. It starts with them. But when they drive a car into a Christmas market at 8 p.m. and you're there with your kids, they're not checking if you're Jewish. They want to destroy everything that we love and believe in.
100% right. And it's the poem, the Martin Mueller poem, first they came for the Jews. That's how it goes. And, again, this is something I've never spoken. You bring stuff out of me, Erin. That's amazing. I've never spoken about this before, but it's really hitting home for me right now. My grandmother taped a video for Steven Spielberg's project all the way back, and she's long past, in 1996. And every few years, I promise my mother I'm going to try to watch it this year, and I can't. I can't get through it. I go through 10 minutes, and I am crying and bawling on my keyboard, trying to watch it on my computer screen. And I can't get through more than 10 or 15 minutes. I have yet to watch it. It's one of my deepest regrets in life. Yeah. And what you said a few minutes ago really hit home for me, how casual it is. Yeah. People wouldn't expect this. People probably think that I'm hearing about my grandmother watching friends get murdered in the streets. That's not what it is. The thing that makes me bawl is how casual my grandmother was when she was talking about this. And then we had to put on these yellow stars. And then they said that Jews can't go here. And she's saying it so casually as these are normal things to happen in a society.
That's heartbreaking. That's actually even worse in some ways, isn't it?
Yes.
But it was not like George Clooney just referencing, oh, Amal was doing some work with the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. Like it's a funny anecdote about their love and how impressive she is. It's that casualization, normalization of a regime that is responsible for the vast majority of death, suffering in the world. It's insanity.
It really is. I mean, and I know Trump is trying really hard to get the Muslim Brotherhood, at least in America, classified as a terrorist group. If I know for political reasons, it's got to be done piecemeal. Absolutely. But Mrs. Clooney, I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know how you do something like that. It's disgusting.
Yeah, no, it is. And you look at that, and the point I often make to people is there is nothing you look at. They are banned in Egypt. And Egypt is not exactly a country that is sympathetic to the Jews or to Western civilization. People like Dalia Ziada, after October 7, had to flee for her life from Egypt because she said Israel has a right to defend itself. And this country banned the Muslim Brotherhood. We're not talking about an organization that's kind of on the edge. No, they are all in to evil. So for someone in America, a celebrity, to think that it's just it's a noble thing. Oh, she's so incredibly impressive. Look what she was doing. No, but this is how it starts. And people who aren't invested like you and I, people who aren't engaged, people who don't have the capacity to understand or to learn, hear that and think, oh, they must not be that bad. Like George Clooney's talking about them on Drew Barrymore's talk show. He's proud of his wife, and he's a Hollywood star. Like this is how it happens, and it chips away bit by bit by bit, and then you end up with what we had in the 1930s.
You said it really so well. It's really the false sense of security that
Yeah.
we are separated from this somehow. This is not coming
Yeah.
for us. And sometimes some of these Middle East countries know a lot better than us what's really
Yeah.
going on. Like you said, Egypt and the Muslim Brotherhood, they banned them there. And the UAE has
Yes.
declared CARE a terrorist
Yes.
group. CARE is a
Exactly.
terrorist group.
Yes.
And we should be declaring them in Western countries as well. The
Why do
UAE
we think we know better than the countries at the coalface of it? So
exactly
arrogant.
right. Exactly right. And CARE, we know for a fact, because they were an unindicted co-conspirator in the largest terror financing case in American history,
Yep.
the Holy Land case. CARE was the FBI to federal courts because CARE tried to get themselves off the list. They were on a list of unindicted co-conspirators. Just because they were not indicted doesn't mean they didn't do what they did. They did it. And two
Absolutely.
federal courts found that there was enough evidence to show they did it, which is funneling money directly to Hamas. So
Yes.
if you're funneling money directly to Hamas, and we know CARE did that and was involved in doing that, you are a terrorist group, and the UAE knows better than us. And we should take a page from Egypt
Yeah.
with Muslim Brotherhood, and from the UAE and the other Arab countries who understand and don't want to let these people into their countries.
That's exactly right. Make sure you follow, subscribe, share, give us a rating. I don't know how it works. A review, please do that as well. Really appreciate it. Positive, negative, we don't mind. We just love to hear from you. I love you. Thank you so much as always, and we'll see you tomorrow.